Every who down in Who Newville liked the holidays a ton. But where to get great prices on gifts, they had no idea. None. They searched and they searched for great gifts under $25. Gifts for spouses and friends and even their toddlers. When suddenly one who shouted, Walmart has what you want, knowing they have Lego, Tree Hut, and low prices to flaunt. So they enjoy the holiday season as who's often do. Cheering and shouting, Walmart has incredible gifts. Who knew? Find gifts they'll love under $25 at Walmart.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
Have you ever thought, how does everyone know about this current book? And why are they running to the bookstores and libraries to get their hands on it? Or everyone's talking about this TV show, but I feel like I'm binging it months after all of my friends and family. Well, then I have the podcast for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Andrew Rimby, the host and director of the Ivory Tower Boiler Room, an arts and culture podcast. We discuss here LGBTQ plus society and culture, literature, TV, film, true crime, academic conversations, and pop culture. You can listen to us wherever you get podcasts, specifically Spotify and Apple. Make sure that you follow us on Spotify or Apple, rate and review us, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Ivory Tower Boiler Room. We hope you enjoy the podcast.
Hey, true crime friends. Welcome back to another episode of True Crime in Academia. I am your host, Mary DiPipi. I hope you all had a wonderful and happy and healthy and safe Thanksgiving last week and enjoyed time with your loved ones. I know I sure did. It also just didn't feel like Thanksgiving. Like, I feel like the holiday this year just totally snuck up on me. So therefore, I'm trying to be a little more proactive and just more present with this Christmas season. Today, my boyfriend and I, we put the Christmas tree up, put some other Christmas decorations up. I'm looking for a wreath I want to order for the front door. I mean, we have one, and I could put some effort into changing it out. I just don't know that I feel like it. So I might just find one and use some of the money that I got from my gift card from Amazon that I got from work for basically just getting my physical. So, may use some of that money to get that. So we'll see. But by doing this, I hope that, I'll just be ready for Christmas when it comes and not wake up the day of and being like, really? That's today? I have things to do? I have places to go and people to see. I mean, again, it was great. I loved it. But, I just wasn't ready for it. With that, though, I have started watching some holiday movies. I know I told you guys last time for Halloween that I was watching all of these movies, and I was supposed to put them up on TikTok, and I know I just never got to it. So I really am going to try to this week to remember, so that way I can start compiling my Christmas watch list for you guys to see after the holiday. But yeah, so I've started that. Started with a couple of classics, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I also put on The Family Stone, which I've never seen before, so that was cool to watch, I guess. And then also, of course, Love Actually, one of my favorites. But gonna also, of course, because it's me, gonna try and sneak in some spooky Christmas movies in as well. I will say this, though. This time around, I don't really have like a plan, whereas I kind of had more so a plan for Halloween. So we're kind of just going to wing it, I think, and just see what is available on all of the streaming apps. Now, aside from the things that I love about the holidays, one of the things I can't stand is that I feel like I have to check my emails like 20 times a day in order for me to not have like 50 plus emails sitting in my inbox because of all of the sales and the promotions and all of the things. But, first world problems and shit. But anyway, I don't know why, but I really wanted to do a cannibalism case for after the holidays, and I don't know why I do this for Thanksgiving, but my brain just automatically goes there. But just be happy I'm releasing this episode after the holidays, not before, so I didn't ruin your Thanksgiving. But of course, I found the perfect one that I thought would just be great to go along with the past Thanksgiving holiday we just had. But before we get into that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we return, we will get into the Donner Party, or sometimes known as the Donner Reed Party.
This holiday season, not only am I wearing as many holiday sweaters as I can, but I'm reading as much as I can. I've made a commitment for my holiday New Year's resolution, which is read as much as I can in my free time. So, of course, I'm holding the Gay and Lesbian Review's new magazine for the holiday season. It is called Ethnographic Journeys, and it just covers so many exciting topics. Okay, it covers the Two-Spirit journey. It covers caste and gender in India. It covers gender identities in Native African societies, culture clash in South Africa, so many wonderful film, TV reviews. If you have never gotten your hands on the Gay and Lesbian Review, you have some catching up to do. So I'm so happy because I have a promo code you can all use. It is ITBR Choice. You get a free issue of the magazine. So make the November-December issue your free magazine issue. And those over at the Gay and Lesbian Review has shared really exciting news. Until February 15th, they are accepting applications for their Writers and Artists grant. So the Gay and Lesbian Review is asking all writers and artists out there to bring their perspective, ideas, and voices to the magazine to help support emerging and unpublished LGBTQ writers, thinkers, scholars, and artists. How can you apply? Go to glreview.org. While you're there, make sure you get your hands on their new issue of their magazine. The GNLR is an incredible space for history, culture, politics, LGBTQ themed. It's where I get my book recommendations, my film recommendations, my TV recommendations, shows that are happening in New York City that are queer themed. Let's just say I'm about to see Messy White Gaze, and I know, actually, my friend who I've had on the podcast just wrote a review on it, and it's going to come out soon. So keep your eyes out. Remember, ITBR Choice, promo code. Use it when you subscribe to either the print or the online edition.
On April 14th, 1846, in Springfield, Illinois, brothers George and Jacob Donner, along with local businessman James Reed, left with their families, a few employees, all of their belongings, and joined the many others migrating west to Central California. Now, again, this was around more of like the gold rush time, but California was also known for its fertile farmlands. So a lot of them were looking not only just for the prospect of mining gold, but also establishing their own farmsteads. This initial group or party consisted of about 31 people. The party took around a month before they reached Independence, Missouri, which was their initial jumping off point. So now we're in mid-May, which, to put it in context, everyone who was migrating at this point had already left their jumping off points a month prior. So when they left to start this journey is when they should have basically gotten or planned to be in Independence, Missouri in order to travel, and make it there with everyone else. Now, compared to today's traveling situation, you normally want to leave at times when you're hoping there aren't people on the road because you don't want to be involved in the traffic. However, in this particular circumstance, they're doing this based off of how long it's going to take them to get from point A to point B, which is Central California. And because they're traveling on foot and by wagon, you only have a certain amount of times in which the weather is going to be cooperative enough and arguably safe enough to travel, which we will see how that plays out later on. So arguably, this is one of the first major things that goes wrong, But luckily, while they were there in Independence, Missouri, they met up with another wagon train that just so happened to be late, and they decided to all travel together. So the group then makes it to Fort Laramie, which is technically today's southeastern Wyoming. And it takes them about 6 weeks to travel the 650 miles from Independence, Missouri to Fort Laramie. On July 20th, 1846, the group decides they're going to split up, with most of the group going north towards Fort Hall, or what is now southeastern Idaho. From there, they would then pick up the trusty old Oregon Trail to take them the rest of the way. However, the Donner brothers and the Reed family decided that they wanted to go and take this shortcut that they heard of called the Hastings Cutoff. And they heard about it from this guy who it turned out to be a very unreliable guide named Langford Hastings, which was going to take them southwest towards Fort Bridger, which is today's southwest Wyoming. And despite the many people that told them not to do this, the group still just elected to do it anyway. And herein lies major problem number 2, because the Hastings Cutoff, the route was supposed to take the group, or takes the group south of the Great Salt Lake, which is obviously Utah, and it was supposed to apparently shorten the route by 300 miles, when in reality it actually added 125. The party then elected George Donner to serve as their leader, and on July 31st, the group makes it to the Hastings Cutoff. At this point, the group contained about 87 people, including 29 men, 15 women, and 43 children. This led to about a total of 23 ox-drawn wagons in their caravan. Now, for the first week, the group was making really good progress. And what's funny enough is that this guy, Hastings, was actually supposed to lead their caravan or their wagon group. And he just, for some reason, left with a different group at Fort Bridger. And basically, this leaves James Reed to be the navigator and leader for this. So the group forges a new trail, and of course it is extremely rough terrain, and it's through the Wasatch Mountains. It's in the Rocky Mountain Range. I've just probably totally butchered that name. But because they went this way, they lost 2 weeks of time. On August 30th, after gathering as much water and grass as they could carry, the group traversed the Great Lake Desert. Now, according to the untrusty guy Hastings, they were supposed to be able to just travel across the desert in 2 days. It took them 5. So they lost, again, more time, 3 days, taking this supposed shortcut. While traveling through the desert, the party lost dozens of its cattle and 7 wagons had to be abandoned. There were also additional days lost because they spent time looking for the missing oxen. And it's not so much retrieving them for the travel as much as it is for the food source that they provide. They then had to navigate the Ruby Mountains in northeast Nevada, and by the time that they were able to rejoin the main California trail, it was already late September. And this was a time when pretty much all of the other migrants had made it over to California. The Donner Party basically had to race weather and make it through the passes of the Sierra Nevada. Now, because of the excessive traveling and the scarce resources and food, tensions were running high, and the party, all of the members were exhausted. On October 5th, James Reed actually killed a man, an employee of one of the other families, because they had had an altercation or were having an altercation. And at first the group was going to hang him, but then they decided that they were just going to banish him. So James Reed is banished from the group. Meanwhile, his wife and children remain.
Hey, the vibes are slipping. I think it's time to bring out the Velveeta shells and cheese. The holidays are a time to go all in on indulgence. Headline your meals with the rich, creamy meltiness of Velveeta shells and cheese and satisfy your holiday cravings like no other. Bring that main course energy to your side dish. Celebrate extra with Velveeta these holidays.
'Tis the season for all your holiday favorites, like A Very Jonas Christmas Movie and Home Alone on Disney+.
Should I burn down the joint? I don't think so.
Then Hulu has National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
We're all in for a very big Christmas treat.
All of these and more streaming this holiday season. And right now, save big with our special Black Friday offer. Bundle Disney Plus and Hulu for just $4.99 a month for 1 year. Savings compared to current regular monthly price. Ends 12/1. Offer for ad-supported Disney Plus Hulu bundle only. Then $12.99 a month or then current regular monthly price. 18 plus terms apply.
This holiday season, I'm so excited to talk about my favorite academic publisher, Broadview Press. Broadview Press has just incredible anthologies, classic books, history of literature, philosophy, you name it in the humanities, Broadview Press has you covered. So I've had guests on here like Dr. Jeffrey Andrew Weinstock to talk about his pop culture for beginners book, his Mad Scientist Guide to Composition. You know, he's an incredible horror gothic literary scholar. So definitely listen to the podcast I did with him. I had a vampire literature discussion, a wonderful Wizard of Oz conversation. So always so many exciting Broadview Press guests that I have on, and I have a few new episodes coming out soon this holiday season all about how to teach writing and composition. So look out for them. And there's a few books that I definitely want to highlight. So make sure you have on your radar Broadview Press's new anthology of science fiction, a book about original inquiry, a guide to research for undergraduates. I mean, when I'm teaching my students the research essay, definitely I could use that book. Good Reasoning Matters, a guide to critical thinking in a digital age. Okay, well, I hope to talk to all of these editors, but yes, we definitely need critical thinking in this digital age. I keep saying we need to have courses in college for social media literacy to understand what is going on these apps. So that's called Good Reasoning Matters. And then the last book is Solving the Puzzle, A Student's Guide to Historical Research and Writing. These are all incredible books to assign your students, specifically in any kind of literary or humanities research-based course. which almost every humanities course now is research-based. Also, Broadview Press is interested in hearing from librarians. So if you're a librarian or you know a librarian, please take down this information. There is a new subscription called Broadview Digital Bookshelves, which gives you access to over 450 critical editions of literary classics from Beowulf to Virginia Woolf, all for one affordable price. Again, that's over 450 editions of literary classics. Go to ebooks at broadviewpress.com. So if you're even just a classic literature lover, check out Broadview Digital Bookshelves. Okay, I hope you all enjoy Broadview Press, and I have a 20% off code for you all. It is Ivory Tower, right? Ivory Tower at the checkout, and you will receive 20% off all Broadview Press orders.
Still running scarcely low on food and having had several oxen killed by local tribe warriors, the Donner Party ascended the Sierra foothills. Exhausted, the group did what they could to lessen the load, and a lot of them buried their possessions as they went. As they progressed forward, the weather got worse, and they kept being stalled by the deepening snow. The weather would become so bad that the Donner Party would actually build these crude-like cabins just to be able to survive. And there was actually a stretch of 8 days where it just continuously snowed. During this time, many of the oxen wandered off and got lost. One of the survivors, Patrick Breen, started writing a diary documenting the winter starting on November 20th. And it is the only contemporary written record of pretty much everything that happened next. It was that whole winter until when they were rescued. The first recorded death was on December 15th, and that was of a man named Bayless Williams who died of malnutrition. The next day, a group of 10 men and 5 women went out in these makeshift snowshoes and decided that they were going to cross the mountains. This exhibition would be called later by historians as Forlorn Hope. For a month, the group struggled on against the harsh winter weather and just not having enough food. I think one of the sources claimed that they had only packed for maybe a few days, but I think that might have also been all that they could, that the group could spare, for them to go, and that, just all that they could actually bring with them. Being absolutely desperate with little to no other options, the group actually elected that they were going to participate in cannibalism to keep the group alive, and that they were going to draw for lots. But because of the conditions that they were already in, members of the group were already starting to die off. So the group used these deaths as an opportunity for food. However, I do want to point out that it is very important to note that not everyone engaged in cannibalism in the Donner Party. I think it was suspected or deduced that maybe overall half of the Donner Party participated in cannibalism, both those who stayed behind and those who went on, the Forlorn Hope expedition. However, there was one instance where the party did have a murdering for food situation. And that was of 2 Native Americans that either were named or given these names by historians. I'm not entirely sure. But their names were Salvador and Lewis. And they had hiked with the group earlier on, and they didn't participate in the cannibalism. However, though, they did start to fear that they would be the next victims. So when they attempted to run away, they were shot dead by one of the party members. And then their bodies were then used for food. Of the 15 of that Forlorn Hope group, there were only 7 survivors that made it to Sacramento Valley. That was all of the women and just 2 of the men. Once word got out to the other California settlers that there was this group and other members of the group that were still left and needed to be rescued, they started organizing relief and rescue parties. And this started on January 31st of 1847. The rescue would take over 2 months to execute. In all, the Donner Party had 47 survivors and 42 deaths. Of those 47 survivors, only 2 full families survived in their entirety, and that was the Reeds and the Breens. And by in their entirety, I mean, James, his wife, and his daughters all survived. So, all immediate family survived. So, a very grotesque, gruesome story leads to a semi-happy or sort of happy ending for a lot of people. That is all I have for you today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the rest of your week. Don't forget to follow True Crime in Academia on social media at True Crime in Academia on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Also, if you would like to listen to this episode and other True Crime in Academia episodes ad-free, go to patreon.com/Ivory Tower Boiler Room and become a subscriber today. And until next time, my loves, I will see you all later.